Sigourney Weaver, born Susan Alexandra Weaver on October 8, 1949, came from a family already well known in American culture, though her path would be her own. Her father, Pat Weaver, was a television pioneer who created The Today Show and The Tonight Show, programs that changed how Americans watched TV and influenced television history forever. Her mother, Elizabeth Inglis, was an actress who starred in the classic 1935 film The 39 Steps, but she eventually gave up acting to focus on raising her family. Sigourney also had other notable relatives. Her uncle, Doodles Weaver, was a comedian known for his unique humor, and her godfather was Steve Allen, the first host of The Tonight Show. Even with this impressive background, Sigourney often felt like she didn't belong. Her parents were busy with their careers, and as a result, she sometimes felt overlooked or ignored. She once described her experience as being like a little girl in a big house with no one to talk to, which captures her early feelings of isolation despite her famous surroundings. From a young age, she was determined to carve out her own identity rather than rely on her family's fame, which would later serve her well in the highly competitive world of acting. Growing up, Sigourney was tall and unique, standing out among her peers. By 6th grade, she was already 5 feet 11 inches, which led to teasing from other children, including being nicknamed the Giant Spider. To feel more confident and create a stronger identity for herself, she changed her name at age 14. She found the name Sigourney in F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby and decided it suited her better than Susan. This new name not only gave her a sense of strength and individuality, but it also later helped her in Hollywood, as casting directors initially assumed Sigourney was a man's name and were surprised when a tall, striking woman appeared for auditions. This unexpected twist made her memorable and unique in a competitive industry. Sigourney's journey to acting was not straightforward. She initially attended Stanford University, where she studied English literature. Her college life was unconventional. She didn't follow a normal student routine, but instead chose to live in a treehouse with her boyfriend, played the flute, and wore elf costumes for fun. She also acted in school plays, including productions like A Streetcar Named Desire, but she initially thought of acting as a silly or impractical pursuit. After college, she traveled to Israel to work on a farm, and it was there that she realized how much she missed storytelling. This experience sparked her decision to apply to the Yale School of Drama, one of the most prestigious acting programs in the United States. Yale would test her skills and determination, as she faced challenges with professors who doubted her talent, and classmates like Meryl Streep, who often received the best roles while Sigourney was left with less glamorous parts, including playing much older women. Despite one professor telling her she had no talent and should quit, she refused to give up. Instead, she became determined to prove herself, showing early signs of the resilience that would later define her career. At Yale, Sigourney met Christopher Durang, a fellow student who, like her, felt like an outsider. Together, they experimented with unconventional theater, taking risks that many of their peers would have avoided. In one play, Titanic, 1976, she played a woman who kept live animals inside her body, a strange and challenging role that tested both her emotional range and her willingness to take risks. They later created Das Lusitania Songspiel, a bold and experimental piece that combined satire, absurdity, and social commentary. Sigourney played a sex worker smashing champagne bottles while singing about money, in scenes that many critics considered shocking or insane. While mainstream audiences might have dismissed the work, it drew attention from key figures in the entertainment world, including director Warren Beatty, who described their approach as punk theater. Even though some of her performances were criticized, these experiences allowed her to explore the boundaries of performance, combining emotional depth with creative daring. Sigourney's final performance at Yale was another unconventional choice. Rather than performing a traditional monologue, she acted in a piece where a woman seduced a refrigerator. The professors failed her, yet Durang recognized her talent and secretly shared the performance with agents. This led to her first off-Broadway role and the start of her professional career. Her early stage experiences in New York's avant-garde theater scene taught her the importance of taking risks, embracing creativity, and using unconventional methods to stand out, a philosophy that would later help her secure the role of Ellen Ripley in Alien. Her first film experience was modest. She appeared in Woody Allen's Annie Hall, 1977, for just 6 seconds, wearing a trench coat and standing silently beside Woody Allen and Diane Keaton. While this role had no lines and earned her just $50, which she spent on a sandwich, it introduced her to the world of film and put her on casting directors' radars. This small appearance ultimately paved the way for her to be considered for more significant roles, including her career-defining role in Alien. What started as minor exposure became a crucial stepping stone toward her future as a Hollywood icon, showing that even the smallest opportunities can have lasting impacts if approached with persistence and dedication. Sigourney Weaver's breakthrough came when she was cast as Ellen Ripley in Alien, 1979, a role that would define her career and change Hollywood's view of women in action and sci-fi films. The casting process was not straightforward. Early drafts of the script used male pronouns for the lead character, and the filmmakers originally envisioned a male protagonist. However, director Ridley Scott and 20th Century Fox decided to take a risk and cast a woman in the lead role, a bold decision at a time when audiences were not accustomed to seeing women as action heroes. Sigourney, at just 29 years old, was relatively unknown. Other famous actresses, including Meryl Streep and Glenn Close, had been considered. But it was Weaver who ultimately secured the role. Her background in theater, including experimental and unconventional performances, had prepared her for this challenge by giving her a sense of confidence, physicality, and emotional depth. As Ripley, Sigourney introduced a new type of female character to cinema. Ripley was intelligent, strong, and independent. She didn't rely on others to rescue her, unlike many female characters in films of the era. She adapted, survived, and led, making her a role model for audiences worldwide. However, Hollywood did not immediately recognize her talent. Sigourney was paid $35,000 for her work, while co-star John Hurt earned $250,000. Additionally, executives at Fox worried that a female action hero would not appeal to audiences. To ensure she could convincingly portray Ripley's strength, Scott arranged for her to train with ex-Marines. This training helped her handle weapons, equipment, and physical challenges with confidence, making her performance believable and impactful. Audiences were stunned when the male characters, including the captain, were killed first, leaving Ripley to survive against impossible odds. This subverted expectations and made Ripley not just a side character, but the central, defining force of the story. Sigourney's performance in Alien received widespread acclaim, and she went on to star in 3 sequels, each of which explored new aspects of her character. The second film, Aliens, 1986, directed by James Cameron, cemented her status as a leading figure in sci-fi and action films. Ripley was more than a heroine. She represented resilience, intelligence, and courage. Audiences were drawn to her emotional depth as well as her physical strength, which was rare in action films of the time. Her portrayal of Ripley challenged traditional gender roles and demonstrated that women could lead blockbuster films with intelligence, bravery, and determination. In 1987, Sigourney earned an Academy Award nomination for Best Actress for her role in Aliens. This was unprecedented for a performance in a sci-fi action film. The Academy had rarely recognized actors in genres outside of drama or romance, making this nomination a landmark moment for the recognition of women in action cinema. Ripley's character combined heroism, emotional complexity, and vulnerability, which contributed to the nomination and helped shift Hollywood's perception of women in film. Though she did not win, the award went to Marlee Matlin for Children of a Lesser God. The nomination alone was a breakthrough that opened doors for future actresses in similar roles. Sigourney continued to showcase her versatility as an actress. In 1989, she achieved a historic feat by winning 2 Golden Globes in a single night for 2 completely different performances. She portrayed real-life scientist Dian Fossey in Gorillas in the Mist and played a ruthless boss in Working Girl. No other actor had accomplished this before, and it highlighted her incredible range. These achievements reflected her dedication, skill, and ability to adapt to vastly different roles, proving that her talent extended far beyond the sci-fi genre. Sigourney's career also demonstrated her commitment to challenging Hollywood norms. Despite offers to return to the Alien franchise, she was selective, turning down millions when she felt the scripts or characters were not right. She insisted on roles that offered meaningful, strong, and complex female characters, rather than stereotypical or shallow portrayals. This insistence on quality over quantity contributed to her reputation as an actress who prioritized integrity and artistic value over fame or financial gain. Her influence extended beyond her performances, shaping the way female characters were written and perceived in science fiction and action films for decades to come. By the time Sigourney Weaver reached 75, her legacy was firmly established. She was not only remembered for Ripley, but also for her broader impact on Hollywood and the way women were portrayed in film. Beyond her work in science fiction, she took on roles that demanded emotional depth, intelligence, and courage. In Gorillas in the Mist, she brought attention to conservation and animal protection through her portrayal of Dian Fossey. In Working Girl, she embodied ambition, power, and complexity in a corporate setting. These roles, combined with Ripley, created a diverse portfolio that challenged traditional boundaries and expectations for female actors. Over the years, Sigourney also shared behind-the-scenes stories about Alien that revealed the challenges and risks involved in making the films. She spoke about the studio executives' doubts, the early drafts of the script, and the physical and emotional demands of portraying Ripley. She revealed that there were moments when she faced threats from critics, the pressures of intense filming schedules, and the strain of being a female lead in an industry that often undervalued women. Despite these challenges, she persevered, maintaining professionalism and determination throughout her career. These revelations helped fans understand the personal strength and dedication that fueled her iconic performances. Sigourney's impact on Hollywood extended beyond her acting. She inspired a generation of filmmakers, writers, and actors to create strong, complex female characters. Many contemporary action heroines and sci-fi leads cite her as an influence. Actresses such as Sigourney Weaver, Charlize Theron, and Zoe Saldana have spoken about the importance of Ripley in shaping the roles available to women in action films. Her insistence on authenticity, emotional truth, and intelligence in her performances created a standard for how female characters could be written and portrayed in blockbuster films. Even after stepping away from the Alien franchise, Sigourney continued to be selective with her roles, focusing on projects that allowed her to explore challenging material. She pursued roles in theater, film, and even voice work, demonstrating her versatility and adaptability. Her later reflections on her career show pride not just in her success, but also in her ability to stay true to herself and her artistic principles. She has been quoted saying that she chose projects based on their story, their message, and their ability to resonate with audiences rather than on financial incentives alone. This approach not only ensured the longevity of her career, but also solidified her reputation as a thoughtful, principled artist. In conclusion, Sigourney Weaver's journey from a tall, overlooked girl in a famous family to a pioneering Hollywood actress and cultural icon is remarkable. Brasse. She has revealed stories that inspire and educate, showing that resilience, creativity, and integrity are the keys to lasting impact. Her legacy as Ellen Ripley continues to shape the portrayal of women in action and science fiction films, while her broader body of work highlights the importance of emotional depth, versatility, and courage in storytelling. She has proven that a talented actor can not only entertain, but also challenge norms, break barriers, and influence generations. Today, fans continue to celebrate her contributions, and she remains a symbol of determination, creativity, and groundbreaking achievement in the world of cinema. Sigourney Weaver's story is a reminder that talent. Sigourney Weaver, born Susan Alexandra Weaver on October 8, 1949, came from a family deeply rooted in American culture, but her path was uniquely her own. Her father, Pat Weaver, was a television pioneer who created iconic shows such as The Today Show and The Tonight Show, shaping how millions of Americans experience television. Her mother, Elizabeth Inglis, was a talented actress who appeared in the classic 1935 film The 39 Steps, though she eventually left acting to focus on her family. Sigourney's extended family included notable figures as well. Her uncle, Doodles Weaver, was a well-known comedian, and her godfather was Steve Allen, the original host of The Tonight Show. Despite growing up surrounded by fame and influence, Sigourney often felt a sense of isolation. She described her early years as being like a little girl in a big house with no one to talk to, capturing the loneliness she sometimes felt in a household of ambitious parents. From a young age, she wanted to forge her own identity rather than simply rely on her family's accomplishments, a determination that would later help her succeed in the highly competitive world of acting. Standing tall and striking even as a child, Sigourney often drew attention, sometimes negative, from her peers. By 6th grade, she was already 5 feet 11 inches, which led to teasing and nicknames such as the Giant Spider. Seeking confidence and a personal identity, she made a life-changing decision. At the age of 14, she adopted the name Sigourney, inspired by a minor character in F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby. This new name gave her a sense of individuality, strength, and distinction, which later helped her stand out during auditions in Hollywood, as casting directors initially assumed the unusual name belonged to a man. Sigourney's early educational journey was as unconventional as her personality. She attended Stanford University, studying English literature, but she did not conform to the traditional student lifestyle. Instead, she embraced a whimsical and adventurous approach to life, living in a treehouse with her boyfriend, dressing in elf costumes, playing the flute, and experimenting with art and theater. During her time at Stanford, she participated in plays such as A Streetcar Named Desire, though at the time, she considered acting to be a playful, impractical pursuit rather than a serious career path. After college, she traveled to Israel to work on a kibbutz, an experience that made her realize how much she loved storytelling and performing. This revelation sparked her decision to apply to the Yale School of Drama, one of the most prestigious acting programs in the United States. Yale was challenging, both academically and personally. She encountered professors who doubted her talent, and classmates like Meryl Streep, who often secured the best roles, while Sigourney was given less glamorous parts, including playing much older women or supporting roles. Despite criticism, including one professor telling her she had no talent and should quit, she refused to give up. Her resilience and determination became defining traits that would characterize her entire career. At Yale, she formed a close creative partnership with fellow student Christopher Durang, and together they experimented with unconventional theater. In productions such as Titanic, 1976, Sigourney took on demanding roles that tested her emotional range and her willingness to take risks. In other performances, such as Das Lusitania Songspiel, she played bold and shocking characters, including a sex worker smashing champagne bottles while singing about money, blending satire, absurdity, and social commentary. While mainstream audiences might have dismissed these avant-garde performances, they drew attention from important figures in the entertainment world, including director Warren Beatty, who referred to their work as punk theater. Her daring approach to acting and willingness to explore unconventional characters laid the foundation for her later success in Hollywood, particularly her ability to bring depth and authenticity to roles that challenged traditional norms. Her final performance at Yale was another unusual choice. She performed a scene in which a woman seduced a refrigerator. Although professors failed her for this performance, Durang secretly shared it with agents, leading to her first off-Broadway role and setting the stage for her professional career. Sigourney's first film appearance was brief but memorable. She appeared in Woody Allen's Annie Hall, 1977, for 6 seconds, silently standing in a trench coat beside Woody Allen and Diane Keaton. Though her role was tiny and earned her only $50, it provided her first experience on a film set and introduced her to the casting world. From these humble beginnings, Sigourney's persistence, creativity, and unique personality would soon lead her to the role that defined her career. Ellen Ripley in Alien, 1979. The lessons she learned from her early life, her daring experiments at Yale, and her ability to stand out against the odds prepared her to seize this opportunity and redefine the role of women in action and science fiction cinema. Sigourney Weaver's breakthrough came with her casting as Ellen Ripley in Ridley Scott's Alien, 1979, a role that would not only define her career, but also revolutionize Hollywood's approach to female characters in action and sci-fi films. The casting process itself was challenging. The original script for Alien used male pronouns for the lead, and the film